Okay, so the guy's walking down the street, and he reads this sign. It says, psychic fair, canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. How true is that, right? I mean, come on. Sometimes it feels that even though we think we can predict things, we can control things, we can sort of like have that wonder. And then we're reminded that, yeah, maybe not so much so. So, Reverend Jeff was to speak today. He's home ill. So next week, he's going to recap our 7 ups. Plus, he's going to give us a new one. The idea that we've been working on so far this month is about going in before we go out. Going in for that direction, for that guidance. And so today, I'm going to ask us all to take it to the street. Right? Because that's where we live our life, is no matter how much time we spend in, we have to get out. We have to do what is ours to do. So we anchor ourselves. We anchor ourselves first in that divine love, in that knowing, in that hope, in that faith, in that trust, in that oneness. We start there. That's what we do first. And when we do that from a committed perspective, when we do that on a regular basis, then we can show up. We can suit up and show up in all of our glory. And that's what it's all about, right? Glory. The glory of life. So how many remember Robert Schuller? He built the Crystal Cathedral in Anaheim, California. And I'm going to give you a quick side note. So I'm in corporate America. I have just moved to Southern California. The president of our division has come out for a conference. I'm in charge of taking him from the airport to the convention center. This is prior to GPS, prior to MapQuest. This is when you had those books that you had to go to page whatever and anyway, I practiced that route, you guys. I practiced it. From the airport to the convention center, from the convention center to the airport. He shows up and he's like, you know, Debbie, we've got some extra time. I want to see the Crystal Cathedral. And I understand it's not very far from the convention center. I'm like, okay. Mr. Gary, I'm sure it's really close, but I have no idea where that would be. He's like, all right, so let's drive to the convention center and ask someone. Like, okay. Now, keep in mind, this gentleman interviewed me for the job years before that, right after my dad died. And he asked me what my dad did for a living, and I cried. So he and I had this connection to begin with. Thank you. Anyway, somehow, we made it to the convention center. No one knew how to get to the Crystal Cathedral. We figured it out. We probably stopped and asked 10 people, you guys. It was like 3 miles away. It's a beautiful building, and it's huge, but it's all surrounded by trees. Anyway, we got there. He got back to the convention center, and he asked someone else to take him to the airport. But, you never know what's going to happen. Life just throws stuff at you, which is why we should always go in first so we can breathe and, be authentic. Anyway, Robert Schuller, he was not a New Thought minister, but sometimes he sounded like it. He hosted the Hour of Power, where people all around the world can give him money. And anyway, but he also wrote a book called If It's Going to Be, It's Up to Me. And that's what we're going to look at today. Is it really up to me if it's going to be? And in this philosophy, the answer is yes and no. So I want to start with the 4 levels of consciousness. You guys, Michael Beckwith put this together from the Agape Institute. And there's 4 levels of consciousness, and we've talked about that here. We'll talk about it again. But the idea is, the first one is, why me, right? It's all victimhood. Why? And oh, by the way, let me keep telling myself those same stories. And then we get to the next phase, which is, by me. That's kind of when we start getting into this teaching, right? It's by me. I get to change my thinking and change my life. And I get to have some control over things. I'm going to start thinking of more good stuff so I can attract more good stuff. And then comes the through me stage, which is I'm trusting. I'm letting it work through me, for me, as me, right? We're sort of mellowing into it. And then the last stage is as me, and I like to call that the Om stage, where it's like, oh, let me just breathe. Oh, that's what it's all going to be about. But often, we unconsciously get stuck in the by me stage because we now have all these spiritual tools, right? We know about affirmation, and we know about prayer, and we know about forgiveness, and we know about visualization and visioning and, holding that high watch. And we've got people all around us talking about, what they've demonstrated and manifested in their life. And we've got, we're getting the best parking spaces always, right? We're like in it. We have our will, we have our fortitude, we have our strength, our spiritual tools, and we know it all falls onto me. It's up to me. There's a story of a woman who's warming up before her morning jog, and she's like stretching out against a tree, and a guy walks by and says, "You should try a saw. It works much better." Right? And sometimes we feel that way, right? It's like, okay, I don't need a saw. I don't need anybody else. I got me. I got my mind. I got my tools. I got everything I need. But that's not necessarily always the case, right? That's like the first zone of this teaching. This is like the first zone of living. It's like, okay, we've learned how to walk. Now it's time to start running. This is the stage where we can sometimes get ourselves messed up because now something unexpected happens and it's like, no, universe, that doesn't get to happen to me, right? I'm doing my thing, just like I'm supposed to, using all the tools, but stuff still happens. And now we start to blame ourselves, right? Like, what did I think to create this? What did I miss? Why? Why? Because the whole focus has always been on me and my God and my life and my. But let's be really clear. It's not always just about us. It's about our expression of the one. It's about our experiences of its creation. It's about living life here and now in the present moment in the real world. So there's a lot of things we can do. There's a whole lot of things we can do. But there's one thing. There's one thing, and it's a biggie. There's just one thing that we cannot do. What do you think that is? We can't control the outcome. Join me in this. I have no control over the outcome. Oh. You're like behind on this. There. Perfect. But we have no control over the outcome. Community, we have no control. We have a lot of input, and we have a lot of tools to use around the outcome, but we don't have control over the outcome itself. So here's what we do have control over, and I'm going to use Reverend Joanne's metaphor of planting a garden, okay? So we get to choose the seeds we're going to plant, right? We get that through our visioning, listening within, those nudges that we get. And as we listen to them, we get to see that this is sort of what we want in our life. And we get to start implementing that. Then we plant the seeds, and we do so confidently, knowing, right, that this right here is what I want. These carrots are what I want. We do our prayer work. Then we nurture. We nurture what we've just planted. And as we nurture those, we hold the vision, we spend time imagining, we spend time as if it is already ours, because in our heart it is already ours. And then we do that, always we do that, not with sweat and tears. We nurture our garden through love and acceptance and forgiveness. All of those things that are not so easy to do all of the time, but they're ours to do. And then our weeding is where we get rid of our fear and our worry and our doubt. We let it go. We don't allow that. So this teaching, this philosophy is really clear. This is what's ours to do. This is what's ours to do. And we shall reap what we sow. But it's not up to us to decide how big the carrot's going to be. Right? It's not up to us to see what the carrot's going to look like. None of that. When the carrot's ready to be picked, none of that is up to us. That's where we trust. We trust. Because Spirit can only do for us what Spirit can do through us. And sometimes that trust is not such an easy thing to do. But it's such a requirement. Such a requirement. There was a period of time when I was jobless. It had nothing to do with the Crystal Cathedral, trust me. But there was a period of time when I was jobless for like much longer than I should have been. And it was a really valuable lesson I learned firsthand. Now, I've learned it a few more times since then, but, I was so busy doing, stressing, foreseeing, utilizing all of my spiritual tools, darn it. And my mentor at the time said, you got to trust and let it go. You don't get to decide how your good looks like. You don't get to decide when it shows up. You need to operate from a place of gratitude. And so I did. I did my resume work, right? I did my networking. I did my calls. The job showed up through some very interesting twists and turns of meeting someone at a club meeting and talking to a woman selling Afghan jewelry. And I don't know, anyway. It took a whole lot of twists and turns. Had no idea it was brewing. No idea. But during that whole time, I was flooded with unexpected good. I never missed a bill payment. Consulting gigs came in from weird places like Costa Rica. It was amazing how it all just sort of, somehow, it all worked. And I was blessed by it. I'm not sure why I had to keep learning that lesson a couple more times, but I did. But the idea was, I didn't miss a meal. I didn't miss a tithe check. I didn't miss a bill. I didn't miss a mortgage payment. I didn't miss anything. But it required a whole boatload of trust. And I'm really glad I now know how to trust to that degree. Because here's the other thing that's up to us to do once we go outside. We need to be good citizens of the world. We need to get to that space of grace and gratitude, of giving from that place of our heart, giving extra love and extra joy and extra compliments. We need to find ways to be of service and in service while we're trusting the universe to deliver what is ours. Because it's not all about me. It's about the oneness with everything else around us. Right? It is knowing that what is good for you, when I am grateful for you, then I get to be more grateful for me. That's the other thing that's ours to do, is to not be in a silo, but to be in community, to be supporting each other, to be caring for each other, to be loving and trusting and kind to each other. A world that is kind and respectful. Can you even imagine? I can. And it starts with making our world, our circle, respectful and kind and loving and full of gratitude. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Turning to the one with a complete abandonment and absolute trust, we will find that we are already saved, already healed, and already prospered." That's where the rub lies, right? It's hard to do that. It's hard to just turn it all over with complete abandonment, just to let it go and to trust, to know that Spirit is doing the heavy lifting if we just let it. There's a poem by Loretta Burns. I'm sure many of you have already heard it, but here it is. As children bring their broken toys with tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because God was my friend. But then, instead of leaving him in peace to work alone, I hung around. I tried to help the ways that were my own. At last, I snatched them back and cried, "How can you be so slow?" "My child," God said, "what could I do? You never let it go." Right? It's so simple and so hard, all at the same time. If we are just willing, with complete abandonment, to know that God's got this, and then go out and do what is ours to do, which is to be kind, to be loving, to be respectful, to be grateful, to be of service and in service. When we go and do that and give the universe time, then all of the events and all of the participation and all of the people we meet and all the coincidences all sort of align. That's what the universe does. It aligns everything for us without us knowing, in precise balance and in precise timing for the precise right outcome. And anyone in this teaching for any length of time can tell you those outcomes are always greater than we could have imagined. Those outcomes are never as bad as we thought they were going to be, because it's all surrounded with grace. So, is it really up to me? Yes, and absolutely no at the same time. The outcome, absolutely not up to us. Directing, guiding, supporting, and serving the universe, totally up to us. So I'd like to do a little closing spiritual mind treatment. Actually, it's more like a little practical prayer here, along with an exercise. You guys up for it? Okay, so close your eyes. Think of something that's going on in your life. Maybe it's a challenge. Maybe it's a dream you're working on. It's not quite there yet. Just sort of get a good picture in your mind. And when you got that picture, take your non-dominant hand, put it over your heart. That is a gesture of love and acceptance. Let's take a couple of breaths and just breathe into where we are right now, lovingly. Fully accepting. Now, see yourself down the road a bit. And see how it has resolved. It has manifested. The issue is completely addressed. The dream fully manifested. Notice how you can get excited about the next big thing that's gonna come. In this moment, We know that there is only one. It is that very thing itself. It is Spirit, it is God, it is Bob, it is whatever you call it. But we know right here and right now, it is working through us, as us, and for us. And we are just in gratitude. We are in gratitude. We put our other hand over our heart and we just breathe into that acceptance of this good. Of this good that we have commanded the law to deliver. And we are so excited. This is who we came here to be. And we are so clear of our light and our love and our willingness to give. See yourself in that moment. Oh, the wisdom and the knowledge right here and right now. Is there anything right now that you want to ask yourself down the road? Let us just take this with gratitude and with love and with grace. Let us breathe into it and let it go, knowing that Spirit is doing the heavy lifting and is ready, so ready to give more. We release it. We let it go. We allow that empowered feeling, that uplifted feeling, that inspiration. We feel energized. We feel joy. Let us raise our hands in victory and let us celebrate this moment. Come on. We have done it. See if you can do it in mind and you can let it go. Oh, let the universe deliver all that goodness, all of that goodness. So if you think you're done, you aren't, because as always, there's an assignment. Imagine that. Identify just one area of your life, just one. And maybe it's the one you just worked on, right? Stop forcing it. Stop pushing it. Don't white knuckle it. Just write it down. And then align with it. Do your spiritual work with it. And release the outcome. Just release it. Let go, let God. I'm supported by the infinite. Let's say that. Let go, let God. I am supported by the infinite. Whatever that affirmation statement is for you, own it. Own it. Try this daily. Put your hands over your heart. Take it where it's at now. Take it where it's going to be. And in the end, celebrate the victory of it all. Because when we let go, that's when we are victorious. When we let go, we let God, and we get busy doing what's ours to do, which is to be kind and loving and respectful, to be of service and in service, and just full of the grace of it all. Some of it's up to me. Some of it's absolutely not up to me. When we get clear on that, then we get clear on creating just the way it's supposed to be and just the way that it's not. Namaste.